I would say it's not hard finding them, but it's hard finding people who committed. Because you got to understand, man, what we do, there is no monetary gain. There is no pay.
Right.
It's all out of, it's not a pull. Because anytime you're doing something, whether it's coaching, whether you're managing a job, a lot of times that can pull you from, your family. It's not hard finding people, like-minded people. It is hard finding people that are committed and can remain consistent.
It's beauty in the struggle, ugliness in the success. Hear my words and listen to my signal of distress. The good news is you came a long way. The bad news is you went the wrong way.
Guaranteed official. That's what you do. Because of what you're doing for the body.
I will start by saying this, Mark.
Welcome back to another CTA podcast. I am your host, interview expert, Mark Thompson, here with another banger, and I'm excited and I'm ready. This is going to be a special episode. This is the first time I've had two guests on at the same time, but I invited the first guest, and he said, "Man, I can't do this without my wife." And I said, "You know what? You on to something. That's black love. I can't let black love not show up on this show, and I'm excited to have these two on here." Folks, everybody, I'm going to do the introduction, but I'm going to just go ahead and introduce them because they are just a beautiful couple. Mr. and Mrs. Bryan and Quenna Tillman. How y'all doing?
Great.
What's up, brother, man? Glad to be here, man. And first of all, I want to thank you for inviting us on, man. It's a blessing. I love what you're doing. You're doing a lot of big things, talking to a lot of big people. So we're honored to be a part and honored that you would have us on, man. Salute to you, bro.
Man, no, salute to y'all. I appreciate that, man. This is the Villmatic season, the sounds of kings and queens. And I have two special people to the community, to E. Smith, to the neighborhood. I mean, everything. See, Bryan, you don't know, I've been knowing Quenna since she was about 3-4 years old. My mom used to direct weddings she was in. She was a flower girl. I still remember. I still got videotape. Wow. Yes. Man, we all go back. Man, we go way back. And I'm glad you all are here because we're going to talk about a lot of excellence. We're talking about these things because on this program, Career Transformation Academy, we're just showcasing career excellence. We're showcasing folks who have storms in your career journeys and how you got there and what are the pains, what are the joys, what are the highs and the lows of everything that you go through. And today, Mr. and Mrs. Bryan and Quenna Tillman are here. And let me just read their bios very quick. I told you I'm going to mess this up, but I'm going to read them quick. So Bryan Tillman was born and raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina. After graduating E. Smith High School, he went on to play college basketball at North Carolina Wesleyan, before earning his degree at Fayetteville State. As a proud husband and father of 3, Bryan is also a dedicated coach and mentor. He is the founder and president of Life Changing Mentoring LCM, a community-driven program focused on serving the youth in Fayetteville ages 10 through 18. That is incredible. Inspired by the tragic loss of a student athlete to gun violence, Bryan recognized the urgent need for mentorship in the community. LCM is committed to redirecting youth away from destructive behaviors through positive support and community outreach. You got a lot more. He's also the head coach of E. Smith football. We ain't gonna talk about these accolades. I didn't know you were coach of the year. Basketball. Sorry, basketball. But that's still. See, I told you I messed these things up. But recognize though, and that was huge when I read that. I'm glad that. So. Going to Quenna. Okay, let's get to the next one. So Quenna Tillman is a dedicated educator and leader in the community, serving as assistant principal at John Griffin Middle School within the Cumberland County school system. Over 20 years. We're old, 20. Not you. I'm old because you got 20 years experience. Like, good gracious. In education, Quenna has a profound passion for mentoring and supporting children. A proud graduate of E. Smith. I love that because we Bryan. Oh man, E. Smith is deep. 1800. She's continued her education at Winston-Salem State University, earning a degree in psychology with a minor in elementary education. She furthered her academic journey with a master's degree in special education from Fayetteville State University, where she also received her school administration licensure and the inaugural Trailblazer Award for pioneering efforts in completing add-on licensure program. See all this stuff right here? See what y'all did? This just gave me a book of incredible stuff. Church going, loving family. You're in the community. You're doing big things, and you're also starting the ladies of LCM as well. What I read on here, which is I think is incredible for Fayetteville in the community. What y'all doing? We're gonna tap into all of that. We're gonna dig deep into all of that, and I definitely want to make sure we shine a big light on what you all are doing, and that's incredible. I just thank y'all for the books. But thank y'all for the books. We're gonna get into this real quick, and then my first question I usually ask all my guests, and we'll start. I want either one of you to pick and choose who wants to go first. My question is: you have a drive, you have a vision, you guys have created excellence. The topic for this podcast is excellence, servitude, and mentorship for the future. So I want to understand from you all, from either one of you at the same time, I don't care, what was your motivation? What drove you? What created who you are today to start driving and being this pillar or these pillars in the community?
I'm a gentleman, so ladies first. I'm gonna let my wife go first, and then I'm gonna chime in. We're gonna do it together. You ready? Good.
I'm gonna get him. I would say that what drove me would be how I grew up. So some of the most influential people in my life were my teachers and community aunties and uncles, just people in my community. So it drove me to want to help and mold other young people, young ladies, and men as well. They need, So that's what I would say. What you think?
I would piggyback off of that, and I would say seeing my mother and father. My mother has always worked in the school system, just serving the community. My father as well, not in the school system per se, but through the church. And so community has always been big for us. I can remember ever since a kid, man, I've always had other kids at my home, parents helping different families out. That's just how I was raised, and it's always been a part of me, man, just giving back, being a blessing and serving. And so that's always been big to me, man, being a servant and doing it with excellence, just how I was brought up, man. So that's always been like the focal point of my life, really.
That's good. That's amazing, man. I mean, servitude. I wrote that down because I like to study you all. I don't stop watching people doing great stuff. And when you guys post, these events, you post your volunteerism, you post your program, the kids, what you're doing, the support that's going on, the greatness that is going what you all are doing in Fayetteville. I'm like, yeah, this had to come from a foundation. You had to have a community aligned behind you. And sometimes it is, I talk about this with a lot of our African-American folks. Sometimes it is, you had a hard background, so you wanted to change it, right? But then you all, some of us experience great parenting. So I love to shout out my own parents. I love to shout out folks who had some parents that gave us a great foundation, because we are doing some amazing things. And you all are really touching on some things that I would say are sacrifices. It's sacrifices beyond not only your own family. You're out there reaching and touching other kids. Sorry, not touching them, but helping other kids that are not even in your own family. So what that leads to me is that you all see this and you have found what I say is your purpose. Right. That's driving your life.
The thing about it, Mark, I'm glad you said that P word, man. That's powerful. Another P word that I would add to it, though, bro, is passion. If you don't have a passion and a love for our youth, our community, you can get burnt out very quickly. And so if it's not a part of your why, or if you're not really passionate about the things that I just aforementioned, it ain't gonna fare well for you, man. You got to really love our kids.
Mhm.
And a lot of times what I've run into is when we get like big issues as far as kids who are big or major problems or are going through a lot or dealing with a lot of people can't take on that load, man. So what I've learned is to have a good support system. And one thing that has really helped me is my wife. Her being by my side. And I've made a lot of mistakes, man. I'm gonna be straight up with you. But she's stuck by me. And
Right.
when you got somebody to stick by you, when you got a solid foundation, then you got solid brothers that assist you as well, man. It can make it happen. It can come to fruition. So
I want to say something. Well, I think that the unique thing about my husband and myself is that we come from two different backgrounds. So it's like we're the perfect storm. So we had the mom and dad. I did not. I grew up on a merge. I had a village, but in a unique way, which is something I just concluded recently was a village. But I grew up with my grandmother, my aunts, my uncles, like whoever, like, you know, my mom. I grew up in a variety of homes. And so our perspectives together bring something unique. And so I think that is what makes the way we view things and how we approach things differently when it comes to mentoring, how we raise our children, how we treat people, and how we operate. I think, like I said, we're the perfect storm. So
no, I would see that. I think that's the best thing to have, actually, you know, to actually make that. But that's also something I would say, in order for a vision to come complete, you need a good woman behind your back. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
That's you guys are, trust me, I might have to start a whole Black Love podcast because I'm gonna have you guys come back on there and talk about this, how y'all made it.
Ooh, the Lord.
Definitely. Yes. Nothing but the Lord. But no,
I think it's just I feel when you see, like, Bryan has a deep passion for what he does. We both love children. Like,
right.
you know, we both been in education for a long time. Children are so important. And I think we lose sight of that. We are losing sight of that. If it wasn't for someone who saw something in me as a young child, where would I be? It was someone at school who saw something in me, who poured into me, who, because I was, at that time, life was rough, real rough for me as a kid. So if it wasn't for someone who saw something in me, or someone who pushed Bryan when he may have, you know, tried to be a little knucklehead at times, from what I was told. But if it wasn't for other people.
I'm talking about your nickname. I still remember.
Oh, God. But,
go ahead and say it, man.
Blunts.
Oh, God, what about that?
I was like, what? He's a good dude. Why I call him Blunts? Okay, I didn't know. You tell me that story later.
I think it takes that. You know, Bryan needed someone to kind of push him. You know, he had the mom and dad at home, but it took somebody outside of that to kind of push him in ways that he didn't know he needed to be pushed. And sometimes that's what it takes. So that's why I feel mentorship is deeply important. It's very, very important for our youth.
Let me ask you this, because I know you guys are promoting and pushing excellence. I don't know if that is in your mission statement or some of your goals to the kids that you serve within the program, or even at schools as well, probably with your own children. What do you think are some of the biggest challenges or possible barriers that our kids are facing today, or really having to struggle with just trying to be, you know, just be good, just live in that area?
You ready for all? I have a whole list.
Let's go. Go ahead.
Me and Bryan have a whole list.
We can talk all night about this.
It's a variety of things. Social media, parenting, influences, just self-esteem. It's a long list of things that we had an opportunity to experience, but they experienced it in a different light. If we just take a moment right now and think about when we were in college, and if we had cell phones and stuff like in social media, where we would be?
I'd be in jail.
we would be in so much trouble. So most of the problems come from social media, conflict, lack of communicating effectively with one another. They may post something on Facebook. Next thing you know, they're fighting in school. So that is a big piece that I see. I come home asking my husband all the time, like, do y'all have this, or what can we do to combat this? Because there's something missing. And a lot of times we feel we can do the same things we did when we were growing up on our parents,
Right.
but it's a different day and age, and these kids are experiencing a lot of different things. More kids want to hurt themselves. More kids are suicidal. More kids are cutting themselves. Vaping at school, smoking, doing drugs, drinking at middle school and elementary level. So
We went to Reed Ross though, so
right. We did. So I think the social media is probably parenting, and social media, in my opinion is the largest portion of it, because social media drives everything. It drives how the children look at themselves. It drives their influences, why they want to do certain things. It drives the lack of communication. So they hide behind the keyboard, make memes, talk about each other, post stuff about each other. They record everything. So it's some type of essence that's missing with our children, and why they're up against a whole lot. Okay, your turn.
What I would say, bro, is a lack of structure at home. And I think another important piece we need to look at is a lot of our kids, and this is what I've experienced. A lot of our kids don't have a sense of purpose. You don't have purpose in life. You have pretty much, there's no direction. And so it's almost like you're willy-nilly, man. There's no, you're not stable. And so what I like to do, and what myself and our team like to do, we like to give affirmation to our young men, letting them know, man, everybody that's living and breathing, in my opinion, God has given, or God has a purpose and plan for their life. And so we try to assist them or lead them in finding that purpose while they're here. I believe everybody is here on this earth for a reason. And so it's about finding out why God has us here, and then walking in his purpose and plan for our life. And so I think that's very critical. That's key. Once our young men and our youth in general, once they know they're here for a reason and they know their purpose, you see them living different. You see them talking different. And so purpose, man, that's very critical. Knowing why you're here. What is your gift? What do you bring to the table? What can you offer the world? Everybody is here for a reason. And so it's about helping them realize that, and then helping them walk in their purpose.
That's amazing, bro. Because my pastor says the same things. I mean, you can't really live fully until you understand why you're here on this earth. You can't understand your assignment. And I think that's important, because it's important to break that down to the youth, like fully break it down to you. Like, whatever you're doing doesn't matter until you figure out who you are. And when you do that, then stuff will make sense.
There you go.
Exactly. And then that's a huge piece, because the more the youth are lost, even if they make it to an adult stage, they continue to just do the cycles of whatever they know family taught them. And they think that's the comfortable space. So, one of the things, even when I used to coach football, I taught kids how to be uncomfortable and thrive in it. We're going to be uncomfortable all the time.
Man, it's crazy you said. I'm sorry, can I say this real quick?
Yes, sir.
Because you said something. I'm just coming from practice. I'm just coming from yelling. As you can see, I know I look tired. But look, man, I just got finished telling my guys, and I've been saying it all week, you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. There's a cost. There's a cost for going after greatness. And that's one thing that I've printed out, I've written out, and I really want to ingrain that into their minds, because I'm getting ready, trials getting ready to come up, man. I'm getting ready to put them through some things. And so if we want to see greatness, if we want to reach our fullest potential, we got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Exactly. It's almost like psychology of the mind, to actually be in a space to understanding that once you get uncomfortable, you're going to fail. And then when you fail, you're going to find out that, okay, I know what to do to become better. I'm not going to fail as much anymore. You got to go through that phase. I mean, I probably get kicked out of football practice now, but I used to put my kids' hands in cold water. Why is that? Because during the game time, you're not finna be on the sideline because my hands are cold. No, we're gonna be cold at practice every day. Ice water. It's 20 degrees of ice water. Uncomfortable.
It's
I
not
made it so hard for them. You can't do that now, but I did it back then. And guess what? When they went to game time, they would say, "It ain't cold, it's hot outside." And they would go whoop the other team and be like, "Coach, it ain't even cold." I was like, "I know, because you've been uncomfortable all week."
There you go. You own it, bro.
You've been uncomfortable all week long, so it's time to now
Yes,
go
sir.
out here and thrive and show out. So, man, this is the energy this world needs. This is the energy these kids need, and apply that to life. I commend you all for even reaching out like that. I want to ask, talk about, you all are great leaders. You become great leaders. You're also mentors. Do you find it hard to find other mentors and leaders to join hands with you all to actually help pour into the community?
I would say, and I'm gonna let you speak again, but I would say it's not hard finding them, but it's hard finding people who committed and can be consistent. Because you got to understand, man, what we do, there is no monetary gain, there is no pay.
Right.
It's all out of, it's all out of, from your heart. And so
Right.
again, it goes back to what we were talking about. You don't have a passion for our kids or our youth, it ain't gonna work for you. But as far as looking and finding people, like-minded people, that's going to be critical, because one thing I've learned, you can't do it by yourself. But what I will say is there's going to be it's going to be a little different working with my wife, but I'm excited about it. Now, it's not a pull, because anytime you're doing something, whether it's coaching, whether you're managing a job, a lot of times that can pull you from, your family. It can pull you from the most important thing, and that's family, your wife and kids. And so I'm looking forward to working more closely and us being a team. And I'm excited about that. And so again, to answer your question, it's not hard finding people, like-minded people, but it is hard finding people that are committed and can remain consistent. That makes sense.
No, that definitely makes sense, because
Yeah, I think he hit it. It's kind of like education. You have to really, when we first started this journey, because I was on the behind the scenes in the beginning. When Bryan first started this journey, it's all hands on deck. Everyone's excited, but then, it starts to dwindle, and you don't have the commitment piece. So like he said, you really, like my husband and I can truly say that we really care about children. It's not a time that he is somebody at the house. I'm like, look, I want a break. He got the kids. He come over here, and I'm like, are we gonna have? I'm like, what in the world? But our hearts, since we've been together, we've in church. It's just something I think that's innate, or might be just what God purposed in us.
Sorry.
Bless you.
But even when I look back at the pictures of Bryan, he always has a child, like somebody in his arms. When he was a kid, he always had a cousin or somebody in his arms. So, and I've always loved children. So I just think it's something that's in us, and we will probably find people that are, on the same journey as us. But when it comes to having people like committed, we'll have people help. But as for the people that put in the time and the blood, sweat, and tears at the same capacity that we may, I would say it's kind of hard. But this is his, this was the vision that God gave him. Like, so it's not going to be the same for everybody else, because it's for him and now for us. So it's just something you just have to accept and do.
And don't give up, because the people that are supposed to be in your life will come running to you. The people that are not supposed to be there are going to run away. You're living your purpose, and we in here preaching. we dropping these. We in here dropping Bible study tonight. This is that's beautiful.
Yes, sir.
That's definitely beautiful. I just love the culture. Basically, you guys are designing a culture for the city of Fayetteville, and where do you basically find most of the kids? Are they all over Fayetteville, or just in a certain region?
Now, our home base is Seabrook Rec Center.
Okay.
That's where we've always had our meetings. We're getting ready to move it back. Well, we're getting ready to move it to E. Smith Auditorium.
Okay.
But but
Get calls from everywhere.
we've always had our meetings at Seabrook,
Mhm.
but it's open to the entire city. So we get kids from somewhere everywhere. Primarily just those those parents who feel like their young men need that father figure or that uncle,
Mhm.
that structure that they might not have at home. And so again, just like I was talking about earlier about pouring into our young men, helping them find out what their purpose is, man, we found out that stuff, our parents are really looking for that, and our kids really need that. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, as far as your question, we life-changing mentoring is for the young men and women of the city of Fayetteville,
Mhm.
and anybody who needs our support, help, or assistance.
When
That's
people reach
good.
out, we get emails, inboxes, text messages. People refer like, "Hey, don't y'all got something? My friend's son needs someone, so or whatever." So we
Mm.
get that a lot. They reach out. I recently had they always reach out. It's a need for it. Um, it's the need for it.
Yes,
I
sir.
think you're gonna get more once you invite the ladies in. The guys gonna show up. That's how
Hey, you ain't lying. You know how to go.
I used to have parties back in the day. I was like, I ain't inviting no dudes. I invited all ladies, and then there was 25 dudes outside. Like, how did y'all know? You said it was gonna be ladies
You know
here,
how it go.
and that's how it worked. So kids
Yes,
will be kids, men gonna be men. But no, I think y'all got something brewing that is gonna be fantastic. It could be as big as you dream it. And again, I got my eyebrows. I know me and you, Bryan, talked about some things. I got some ideas. As you guys are talking, I'm actually like, ooh, I got some ideas for you too. So we can keep talking and definitely want to join hands and try to put some other initiatives out here to really support. Because I've always been about
Can I
the
say
kids as
something
well.
real quick?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me for cutting you off, man.
No,
But
no.
one guy I need you to talk to, who I'm very proud of, and who has benefited from our mentoring program, his name is Bryan Tillman Jr. And the reason, and of course, I'm gonna say it, I'm his dad, but man,
Right.
this kid has really, when I say an introvert, he
Mhm.
reminds
Yeah.
me a lot of myself. I'm quiet. If I don't know you, I'm not gonna say too much.
Right.
He's that times two. And so to see
Mm.
amazing things that he's doing at Winston-Salem State as a freshman, the new initiative that he's brought to that school, him being an entrepreneur now, and some of the programs that they're getting ready to implement from a freshman, man, when I say I'm proud, man, it's an understatement. And so I'm very excited to assist him and support him in his endeavors and some of the things he's getting ready to do. Some big things, some that's never been done before. That's getting ready to be a staple at a lot of HBCUs. And
Wow.
so seeing that lets me know that our work isn't in vain. And I would love for you to talk to him one day, man.
Oh man, just send them my information, man. I get all types of referrals just to speak to men that are doing great. And then I got folks that are in international basketball leagues that are reaching back like, what do I do next? Because even your son, there's other black kids out here who are actually getting to college. But guess what? They're the first generation college grads. Still, it's to me, it's still mind blowing that we're still seeing that, right? As
Right,
as
yeah.
African Americans, right? And they have still all of their family on their shoulders, and they're still successful, but they're scared. And
Wow.
this is why I talk about mentorship, because it goes beyond. It starts at elementary to middle to high school. But when they make it after that and they leave, sometimes we're like, hey, man, let us know how well you're doing. No, they still need college. They need after college. They need that navigational pathway. Whereas, some other races may still have that ladder to climb. And I can give you and offer that. And that's something I've been thinking about further along the line, is how do we expand on that space even more? Because these kids graduate college and then they just, I don't know what's next. And they're really confused about life. And the way this, society is, you go back to social media, you see people doing fun stuff or chilling at home and on TikTok all day making money. And it's like, that's not a career. It makes money. You could be an anomaly and get rich, but you still have to put work into it and apply. the energy that these people are doing. 'Cause those people that are doing that are putting in a lot of work, and it's not easy. So, we
Mark, I'm gonna
gotta.
tell you a story.
Mm-hmm,
So I'm gonna tell you how important mentorship is.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's one of my
So
questions too.
let me tell you how important it is. I'm gonna give you a story about me. Okay. So
Mm-hmm,
this is a sidebar. I didn't notice at the time when I went to Winston State, his mom went to Winston State, his sister went to Winston State, and then I went to Winston State, right? So I go to Winston State, I meet a family there. It's probably the first Black family I've seen that is functional. And the dad was a stockbroker. Mom does grants for Winston State now. They took me under their wing. I was their babysitter, worked with the dad. That was my mama bear, papa bear. That was my first example of what a marriage could look like, what a Black family look like, how to raise children a certain type of way. I come home, have my own kids. Guess who's helping my kids now?
His mom.
Same family. But it goes deeper because
That's crazy.
the first family that babysat their children, the Davises, I end up babysitting her children as well. So I have connected with these two families who are now connected to my children at Winston State.
Wow.
And pointing to my son. My son now has access to stuff that he wouldn't have because she was my mama bear while I was there. So now he has access to business things that he wouldn't have because of that little connection right there. That's mentorship. They mentored me as a young lady into the future mom I became, into the future wife. That started out of nowhere.
Wow.
And now they're pointing back into my children. So that's a small way of how important mentorship is.
Well, I'm a double back on that. Mentorship, but also decisions. Your decisions to get married. If you had to make the steps to be together, you wouldn't have this full circle thing. It's a full circle. And then what that also ties in is the power of networking. It's a huge piece that I talk about in Career Transformation Academy about how we get supported in our lives through personal adventures, through business, to career. It's because of the people we know. When they say it's not what you know, it's who you know. I promise you.
Right.
I promise you, everything I've had to do in my life, somebody connected me to it. Somebody gave me that leg up, but that also became a part of me opening my mouth to find out, to be curious. So one of the things that I've talked to a good buddy of mine, and he said that he just be curious. That's something that I try to teach the youth too. Is like, be curious. Ask questions, because that opens doors to new people that you would have never thought of. Like half of these podcasts that I got set up is because I was curious. What do you do? Oh, really? You know what? We need to talk about that. Let me get you on my podcast. Sure, I'll do that with you. I mean, I got so many incredible people that I've met based on curiosity. And I think that is a piece that ties into the culture of providing good leadership, good mentorship, is teaching these kids how to be curious,
And pushing them. Because, I mean, if you don't push them, my idea was to teach at one school for the rest of my life. I thought I was going to retire because of the teachers I had at Ferguson Elementary. I wanted to be just like them. It took one person to see something in me.
Yeah, Mark, you went to Ferguson too?
I did. Yeah. Miss Black was my 6th grade teacher.
Who?
Miss Black was my 6th grade. Miss
That's
Mary
right.
Black.
She was mine too. Dr. Black. Look, she was Miss Black.
Everything. She was the best. Yeah. I still got a picture.
Came up under. So that was my idea in my mind. Like, I want to be like so-and-so. We grew up with teachers that were there. And it took one person to see something in me. And she pushed. When I say push me, I was kicking, screaming. I didn't know what she was talking about. I will fuss. I don't want to do this. And now I'm assistant principal because she saw something in me from years ago. But that's mentorship. That's what it is. So with children, I get a kick out of seeing things in people. I don't care if it's adults, children, my husband, my own personal children. When I see something in them, I get a kick out of making them see it themselves and pushing them. I think that's what we're supposed to do. But we have an environment where we just want to keep each other down. We don't want to encourage each other. Like, we have to depend on one another.
Right.
But our culture does it. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but in our culture, we don't do that. We don't unite. We don't mount up with each other and just encourage each other. So like if there's something in him I see, he may not like it all the time, but I'm going to push him. I'm going to tell him the truth. I'm going to agitate something in him so he can fulfill his purpose. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we should do in the community. That's what we should do in our community of friends. You shouldn't be around people that's trying to get you down.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta. I mean, all these principles that tie into things. I think we talked about a lot of this on a few episodes this season about Fayetteville, you know, and the crabs in a bucket mentality. And Charles Slade said it best. He said it's not that we are crabs in a bucket. He said everybody is a crab in their own bucket. He said that bucket is your mind. He said we just got to get out of it. And I was like, wow, that was so powerful because in Fayetteville, you get so used to seeing so much generational curse. I mean, generational curses are there, and we pass it down, and we pass it down, and we pass it down. And like I said, no knock on the city at all. But when I realized as I posted some of these things and conversations that we had, you know, you think small mind mentality that we had in Fayetteville. Here goes Wilson. Here goes Kinston. Here goes Durham. Here goes these people commented. Same thing in my city. My city too. We do the same stuff. Like, yeah, I can't stay. You know, all of that stuff was resonating to me. Like you said, it's a cultural thing. We're passing around the wrong behaviors. But, you know, then it's that want to. Do you want to learn? Do you want to get better? And if you do, you know, it goes back. I think it goes back to that full circle because I think about that divine download of seeing that special thing in somebody. And then when you see it, pour into them. You know, I was going to ask you, what do you see? How do you see this? Because I've seen that in certain kids. I'm like, come here. You got something special. And I want to help you tap into it. And I'm going to take you as far as I can go because I understand you may be my assignment at this point in time. But once my assignment is done, it's now up to you to figure out the rest of this journey. And I think what you all are doing is creating a whole portal. You're creating your own funnel of just support and mentorship to create these leaders for the future. And this is incredible.
But it started with our own first.
Exactly.
And then teaching them, I wish they were here because they would just teaching them to mentor other people. Like you have to, I think it started at home. So you have to teach them, you teach them to mentor other people, their same age or younger. So you have to create that. And that kind of I feel like that's the way to break the cycle. People talk so negative about Fayetteville. But you live there. So I'm like, you talk about yourself. What are you doing to change it?
Right.
It gets
what are you doing to change it?
Everything is so negative. I'm like, I actually have a good time. I mean, it's, you know, it's not the most exciting place, but good things do happen here.
Yeah. Incredible things happen there.
Yes. What are you doing? You've got so much negative things to say, but what are you doing to impart into this? Like, what are you doing to change it?
Yeah.
Besides putting something negative on Facebook or being negative. So
that's the effects of social media. I hate it that we just get stuck into it. It's where we are, man. We, like you said, back in the day, we didn't have it. We were able to get away with a lot more stuff, but we were also more human though. Were we not more human? We had to go to your face and talk trash. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, it was more personal. You had to really have a conversation with somebody. And we have to, it's crazy, but we now have to teach our kids. We got to teach the youth how to have a conversation and how to be bold and how to be courageous and
problem
not
solve.
worry about that. And those people are winning. It's funny. The difference of just the people that can do it now win more, easier, faster. Right. Like, wow, you know how to talk to people? Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That is the biggest. When I say at work, when I had got a job, I was like, they were so scared. I'm like, y'all don't talk to people? Like, oh gosh, I'm like, just talk to people. That's a big part. This right here can talk.
Okay, well, we got to make them talk right now. I got a good question for you. So we talk about these leadership. We talk about mentorship. We talk about how you poured into your kids, how the family works together. We talked about network. I take notes. Trust me. I take a lot of notes. These notes help me build this, but also you guys are teaching me as well. But I want to ask you, Bryan, you're a husband. You're a Black husband. Now you got to be a leader of your household. How do you translate your leadership on a daily basis, day in and day out, to maintain that consistency? Look at her smiling. How are you consistent in your leadership as a father? And I know it took time because it ain't easy.
I don't think anybody goes into a marriage or becomes a parent knowing exactly what to do. And so you have to learn. And a lot of my learning came from watching my dad, watching my parents. And a lot of other learning came from just on the job training type of thing.
Yeah.
And I would say I've made a lot of mistakes, man. But what has kept me is the love for my wife and children. There have been times where I've wanted to give up. I wanted to walk away. I wanted to, man, I can go on and on. But at the end of the day, when you know you got people depending on you, and then when you realize you love those people,
Right.
it'll make you think twice. And so I'm just thankful and grateful to God of the wife that I have. I know everybody's not blessed as I am, man. I could be in a total different situation. But when you got somebody that's faithful, that is stick by your side through thick and thin, you learn to honor that. You learn to appreciate that. And that's something that I've had to learn, and I've had to do. And so, just a long story short, man, I'm just very blessed. I'm very blessed. And I tell people all the time, I'm one of the richest men in the world. Now, my bank account doesn't reflect that. But when I say I'm rich, I got a loving wife. I got kids that are successful, that love me. I got kids at school where I work that love me and appreciate me. And so that's a lot for me, man. That's big to me. I don't ever take that for granted. And when you realize that you mean something to people, it'll make you want to go the extra mile. It'll make you want to, do what you have.
That's fulfillment, man. I got a question for you, Quenna, but let me tackle back on this because you spoke about that. That's fulfillment, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, financially. That's peace, and that's what it's about. We probably said a lot of spiritually religious things, but that's a great thing about it because it does come full circle about who you are as a person on this earth. And I think religion is a big piece. I don't care who you serve. As long as you serve somebody, it does make a big picture, especially as being a leader and a father and a husband. And one of the things I like to talk about is that if it's easy for you to just jump out, if it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be worth it. If it was easy, if it was smooth sailing, I would have been like, God, something ain't right. Something about to happen, So when it gets hard, that's another thing I told people. When it gets hard, it's hard for a reason because the devil's trying to stop you. Somebody's trying to stop you. It's trying to stop you from reaching a level of excellence because if you don't get it right, then your kids don't get it right. Your family doesn't get it right. Your legacy doesn't get it right. So that's man, when I hear all these things.
I get my offer.
Hey,
oh man. Hey, my therapist used to say that she called me Pastor Thompson.
Hey, never know.
Well, Quenna, I got this for you. So talking about leadership from a husband, and this is a deep question because now servitude, submission, you have to look at this man that you join hands with and follow him. What is it that you do consistently to say, you're my husband, you're my king, my Black African espresso. I want to follow you and I want you to lead us in this legacy.
I would say that just being there for him, like if nobody, he knows, if nobody in this world has his back, he knows that I do. I will go to the ends of the earth for my family and for my husband. I will act a fool, cut up. He knows. Well, he knows I'll act up. But I used to always say, my line was, there's two things I don't play about. My husband and my children. So just trying to find what pours into him. Sometimes it's easy to figure out, sometimes it's not. But just let him know I'm here through my actions and supporting him, loving on him the best way that I know how. And when I don't get it right, try to figure out how to get it right. But just knowing that we're going to be together till the wheels fall off.
Amen.
Then we're going to put them back on and keep rolling.
put them back on and ride it.
Mhm.
Sit on the front porch and wave to
Yep.
random strangers till you get old. That's how it,
Mhm.
that's one thing I used to look forward to. I said, I can't wait till I get old. Just sit on the porch.
We
Who's
doing it.
that? I don't know. How y'all do it? That's a blessing right there. That's what I call love. That's relationship. That's good. That's good. We hit on a lot of things, man, but let's ask you all, let's talk about your ventures for life-changing mentorship. What's new and on the horizon? I know the ladies of LCM is coming, talk about it. What's going on that you're thinking and trying to dream of that will be emerging with the program?
I'm gonna let my wife talk, but before she does, let me just say, as president, no, let me change. I hate when people do the title stuff.
You can say that, man. You are the president.
As a servant to our young men and women,
Gotcha.
I'm excited that we're revamping some things, doing some things differently. And so, again, I'm excited to be working more closely with my wife and bringing the female side or female piece to it. And so from there on, I'm going to let her take that. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I guess working together with my husband, this is something we've been talking about for a long time. We've been trying to put into to works, but it's crazy how God orchestrates things, because I had one way of how I thought things were going to be, and I'm sure my husband did too. And now here we are. I see us working with males and females collaboratively and individually, teaching them how to get along and to have healthy relationships, and just touching on topics and things that are difficult. And taking some things that we did as parents, I feel like, and pouring into the kids. So we have a whole list of things and topics that we're going to work on. We decided that we were going to revamp and relaunch the mentorship, where we focus on certain pillars and then have different topics, like be more organized with what we're doing and be intentional in our actions and what we're saying and imparting to the children. So I'm just really excited.
And can I interject? Let me say this as well. The main thing is to make a profound positive impact for our community with our kids. We want to see them do positive things in our community and be a part of something positive in our community. We want them to be difference makers. And so that's real critical to me, real important to me. And so making an impact, not just having a mentoring program, but really making a profound impact
in that child,
in their lives. One thing that I've learned from my father, he has this statement where he says, if you're out of business, take down the sign. Being that the name of our mentoring program is life-changing mentoring, we really want to be life changers. Not only that, we want those lives that we have an impact on to change our community, be a positive impact in our community. So it's just a domino effect. We really want to make a profound impact, not only in the lives of our youth that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, but we want to turn around and positively impact them so they can positively impact our community. We want my main thing is, I tell our guys all the time, I'm not perfect, but I want to pour into you to the point where I know that you're going to be a great dad. I know that you're going to be a provider for your family. You're not going to run away. You're going to find a way. No matter what, you're going to find a way to make sure you're doing what you need to do for your kids and your family. So I want to be a part of making sure that we have good fathers in our community, good men in our community in general, good husbands. That's important. A lot of our kids, all they want to do is be rappers, ball players. Everybody want a bag. Everybody want to be rich or what have you. And it's social media and the message, man, it's just really dumbing our kids down, and it's just nothing but negativity and evil. And so it's imperative that we have a positive voice that they can, hear from. And so that's where we come into play. We got a lot as it pertains to our kids and our youth. We have a lot working against them. And so it's imperative that we have people like yourself, our teachers,
Mm-hmm.
people that are giving back to our kids. We got to have that. And so that's why it's so important that I feel that we do that we have life-changing mentoring. We really are committed into pouring in our kids, making sure they're a positive impact in our community and giving
just,
back.
I feel like also the village piece for me is big.
Mm.
But it definitely takes it.
It definitely does. I mean, with our own children, it was a community. It was a village.
Mm-hmm.
I told my husband recently that we watched some kind of what we watched. We were watching some show about young men in prison, and they were going back and reflecting on their lives. And the young man was mom was on drugs, and then the aunt had him, and then she gave him up. She just gave him up to foster care. And I looked at him. I realized that I had a village. It may not have been the village I thought it should have been or what I imagined it should be like, but I could have easily been a child that went to foster care. But my family stepped in and created this village. It can take people, it's people in the community that creates that village. It could be people at school. And so I feel like life-changing mentoring is part of the village. Sometimes kids don't listen to their parents. They don't receive the message from their parents. Sometimes it takes someone else who they can relate to. But I feel that you can do whatever you put your mind to. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm a statistic. Like, I'm not supposed to be here. The people who I grew up with on Preston Avenue with my mama, they're dead or in jail. The people who are on the Merck with me, because I grew up on the Merck, Pennsylvania Avenue, they're not here. So a lot of times when I talk to children and they try to be, they're like, you from where? What? I'm like, yeah, I am. But you can be whatever you desire to be if you put your mind to it. So I feel like a lot of our kids don't have hope. I want to pour into them hope, just inspire them to be the best them. They don't, my husband keeps saying we're not perfect, but the goal is to make to allow people to see that you have to make good decisions, and every choice has a consequence. Every choice, there's a consequence from it. So teaching kids how to make the right choice. Sometimes it's the choice that gets them in a bad predicament that they lose their life in or things like that. And we have a lot of young people making bad choices. We just do. They may take that puff of something, and next thing you know, they're gone.
Right.
Or they may go to the party that everybody was worried about, and next thing they know. So it's about choices. And then knowing that you don't have to do what everybody does. What's right for you may not be right for everyone else. You don't have to you don't have to go to a 4-year college to be successful. There's other avenues. I want you to be the best you that you're supposed to be, not the best everybody else. Because we try to force kids to be all these different things. Now, of course, that's what's meant for you, then that's for you. But there's plenty of children that people are forcing. They feel like success looks a certain way and it doesn't. So just helping children navigate life and navigate making decisions and communicating and problem solving. Problem solving is something that kids do not know how to do. When you listen to children, you learn so much. My daughter is also a force to be reckoned with. And I remember her first, she's something out of this world. She's something else. So her brother had no choice, actually, but to be great. But she's the type of child that's going to do whatever you tell her she can't do. She's going to prove you wrong. Like, she's going to figure out how to do it. And when she went to school, she said, Mom, now this was the first 2 weeks. Normally you get this conversation years down the line when you're grown and having children. She said, Mama, these kids don't know how to do anything on their own. The sheer shock of children not knowing how to do the basic things, like basic things. They didn't know how to take care of themselves, clean after themselves, make them a decent meal, like take care, like basic needs. They didn't know how to do it. And this was an 18, 19-year-old telling me that.
Wow.
So where have we failed? Because it's not just one or two, it's several. I watched the parent sites. And they got the bathrooms towed up and everything, or they don't understand. They don't make it the next semester. So what are we teaching our kids? Like, where are we failing? There's a gap somewhere.
It's a lot of them. It's a ton of gaps.
It's a lot of gaps.
Yeah. I like just to kind of go back for both of you all. What you're doing is an impact, and it is what I've learned. I don't want to get 80 some years old. You know, we're in our 40s, around there somewhere. And I don't want to get, you know, in my funeral 80 some years old. No, he lived a long life. No, I want people to say he lived a wide life. And you all are doing that with the impact because you're affecting lives and changing lives. That is changing the momentum of what people should or can do for the future of themselves. You know, it's not even, we ain't even talking about jobs and careers. We're just talking about you as a person and living life the way it is. And going back into that, just teaching these kids certain things. Like I talk to my daughter about choices all the time. She's 8 years old, but I'm already having these conversations with her and to help her understand that I got your back, but you still have to go out here and make decisions without me. And I got to let you understand that whatever choice you make without us, it's going to hit you hard. I just have to help you pick yourself up and get back up. But if you make the wrong choice to help, and we can't pick you up, you got to think about that before you make that decision. Your decision could impact way more than what you think. And I'm telling her that now in the spaces of just simple things. Well, my daughter's the happiest. If y'all met her, she would just melt your heart right now, right? So, but you know, I'm starting early with it because she gets a choice to make every morning. You know, do you want to wake up happy? Do you want to be sad? Do you want to think about, you know, we have God, we talk about the Bible, we talk about religion, we talk about how you are impacted. And if you know something is happening to you that is bad and is hitting you a certain way, you know, that's not God. Point blank. So, you know, understand that you're alive. You woke up, you had breakfast this morning, daddy put you in a car, took you to school. You should be the happiest thing ever because somebody's taking care of you. And one day I ain't going to be able to take care of you no more. And you're going to have to do all this by yourself. You know? So, man, man, I feel like when y'all say that, I just felt more weight because it's a lot of kids out here who need everything that you all are bringing out here. And how do we usher, you know, this into society? How do we usher this into the community? Because it's not just Fayetteville. I mean, it's Durham, it's Raleigh, it's Rayford. Yeah. Well, that's why I say one day at a time, one child at a time. The people who really need it and have been or guided, they're going to get it. And you guys are going to make a great impact. So I know kudos to you all, to your future. Blessings to the program. I definitely want to help out as much as I can and provide and give you everything or whatever I can. I know you said we're going to work on something. My mind's buzzing, whatever it is.
I was getting ready to talk about that. Remember what you promised me, man. So
Hey, it's gonna be incredible. I'm building a legion and more of a bigger team for myself to add value because, you know, I talk about career transformation. Can I bring you all to talk about your roles? Again, let's not let it slip by. You're a head basketball coach, also the founder of LCM. You got an assistant principal here as well. What else you do at E. Smith too, Bryan? I don't think you put that down.
I'm also the safe school coordinator out there.
See?
And so, I mean,
he keeps us safe. Exactly. It is a big deal.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah, that's an important part of daily school life is being safe.
You're right.
It is.
Okay, you Joe Clark. Cold red, locked with the chains on the door.
and he is a big father figure, I feel like, for the kids. A lot of kids see him as a father figure.
That's awesome.
I think so.
No, that's awesome, man. You all have an incredible life and life-changing mentoring. You're also life changers. You're changing the community, you're changing the world. How can people get in contact with you all, reach out to you if they want to ask questions, they want to follow you, LinkedIn, whatever social media, provide that information for us?
You can find both of us on Facebook. My name is Bryan Tillman, Bryan Tillman. Quenna Tillman, my wife. We also have we have our personal pages on Facebook, but we also have our business page. It's called Life Changer Mentoring. So they can always access that. My email, I have several email addresses, but one that they can get to pretty easy is lcminc20@gmail.com. So if you want to shoot us an email or what have you, again, that email address is lcminc20 INC. Also, you can hit me at BryanTillman30@gmail.com. And I can leave you my number as well if you want me to do that, bro. But at the end of the day, man, we're just real passionate about our youth. And then one thing that I wanted to share, I know it's time to go. And this time
No. I was trying to give y'all grace because y'all tired. I'm good. I'm finna go.
Yeah, I am. But let me say this. God has allowed us, and I remember her, I wanted to say something then, but I remember her saying something about life choices. And let me share this. Here I am. My dad has been a pastor all my life, raised in church all my life. I'm talking about going to church pretty much every day of the week. That's how I was raised. So that's all I've known. But growing up, getting through junior high school, doing different things, experiencing different things. I found myself doing a lot of things that I know I never would have did otherwise. But I think God allowed me to go through some things when it comes to, I'm talking about selling drugs, big time. I ain't talking about no nickel and diamond. And I don't talk about this a lot because a lot of times people glorify that stuff.
Right.
But I was doing a lot more than them boys in the hood. You know what I'm saying? And so when you're dealing with group and things of that nature, even dealing with one of your former teammates, doing business across states, man, there was plenty of times, man, I know it won't nothing but God, where I should be still locked up. And so just the very fact that I'm alive, I feel like that I have to do this. Otherwise, it's almost like I have to do this. So,
right.
And that also allows me to be able to relate to kids who are living that street life. Man, like I said, I'm not a street dude, but I've done a lot of street things, more street things than a lot of kids that grew up in the hood. You know what I'm saying? So just that piece alone has allowed me to be able to relate to a lot of kids, primarily at E. Smith, in a lot of neighborhoods. Man, I can go to pretty much any hood in the Ville and I know somebody or I've dealt with somebody. And a lot of people don't know that because I like to move behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? But I know God allowed me to experience that, selling drugs, moving weight, things of that nature. Some stuff that you probably wouldn't even believe, man. Going and living in that lifestyle. It's almost like almost like a burden that I have to give. I have to give back. I have to pour into these young men because you got a lot of young men who jump off the porch late, like I did, or a lot of young men who are brought up in that lifestyle. And so it's important that we got guys like ourselves talking to them, man, reaching out to them, trying to pull them out of that, man. Because of course you and I know that's not the way. But when you're brought up in that, that's all you know. And so, again, man, it's important to us that we give or we find purpose in our youth and allow them to see purpose in themselves. Once that happens, man, you can find a whole different person. I think we can make our community and our city better. Matter of fact, our world better. If we all, us as adults, just start pouring more in our youth. Because you got to think about it, bro. Man, just look at what they're looking at and what they're listening to alone. That alone, man, I mean, and even so on top of that, social media. So they got a lot against them that we didn't have to deal with and go through. And so, man, it's vital that we have mentorship. It's vital that we have entrepreneurs, people doing big things like yourself. And we all got to come together as one and realize that if we don't pour back into our youth, if we're not the example, if we're not doing what we can do on our end, then we're in some trouble.
Man, that was.
I always say, kid, when I have meetings with parents and they don't want to let go or they're trying to hold their hands, I said, your child is going to be one of the main people that's taking care of us one day. Do you want us to have to hold hands and we in the bed, we the nursing home in the bed? Because they go. So I always keep that. That is something that drives me in my profession. Is these children are literally our future, literally, like the song says. What he's.
And let me tell you something again. As beautiful as it is, you guys are a beautiful couple. Your mission, your goal, your purpose, your assignments, it's there for you every day. I mean, coming from Fayetteville, we saw some crazy stuff. So your story, when you said it, I'm not shocked. But to the world, it could be shocking, to what you did, what you're going through. And I wanted to say this to be funny because a PK and a Merc baby to get together, y'all about the same. That's equal. That's the same thing. I was like, Merc baby, PK, especially out of Fayetteville.
Same thing.
So I mean, we've got.
It's just funny. It's funny when you grow up. Like the one thing my grandmother used to always say that I think probably saved my life. She didn't get past middle school education, but she was like, "Your education is your way out." She said that over and over and over again. And even my birth dad, who I do not talk to, that was something he told me. Your education is your way out. Like, your education is important. So, I mean, my sister was bad, still is. Stop joking. My mom, like, I grew up in an environment. I mean, they still off the chain, literally.
Right.
But I mean, it was that one. I don't know what it was. My grandmother just kept telling me, it's your education, your education. You want this, your education's gonna take you there. And she was right. So,
you know what?
I'm
That's
the
another
first to go to
question.
college in my family.
What's crazy is before we end, I'm thinking, well, what is it today? Because nowadays it is your education, but you don't have to go to school.
Nope. It's different.
You ain't got to go to college no more. You could just go pick up a trade and be a millionaire.
But guess what? It is still a form of education. It's just what type of education, because you're still learning something.
Right. Entrepreneurship is big. It's big to start thinking about that and how to actually scale. Business is still something to learn, but that's where it comes back to mentorship. Mentorship, networking. Yeah. So no, you're right. You got that. So no, I appreciate everything y'all said. This is relatable. I think being relatable to kids and having that, what you all are doing, is incredible. We can go ahead and wrap it up, and I got to wrap it up with my little spiel real quick. So, folks, thank y'all for entertaining and watching this show. We are Career Transformation Academy. If you want to follow and see more tips, tricks, stuff like this, I post all the time. If you also want to see more podcasts, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn at Career Transformation Academy. We're also on TikTok at The Blueprint by CTA. I'm dropping stuff all the time, whether it's funny, whether it's informational, whether it's HR-wise. It's about the career. It's about your journey. It's about life. Then also, if you do want to take that next step into your career, we offer coaching. This is for Career Transformation Academy. It is an online digital course that we offer with coaching as well. You can go to careertransformationacademy.com where you can sign up, book a free consultation right now. Myself or my team will talk with you directly to see what your needs are and customize the approach for you to win and get the dream job that you deserve. So sign up today, sign up tomorrow, sign up whenever you need to, but we're here for a lifetime to help and support you. All right, folks. That's it. That's all I got.
I enjoyed you, bro.
Man, no, this was good. Quenna, Bryan, thank you for blessing the show. Oh, man. I was there. You're welcome. I was just there Saturday at the band.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was there.
Oh, okay.
Brought my daughter out there.
Oh, okay. Good stuff, man. That's what's up. Now, look, I'm tired. I'm ready to get off. But remember, let's talk soon so we can set that up, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Definitely gotta pour back into the city. There's so many ideas we got coming up soon for Fayetteville. So I'm excited about this. So yeah, I appreciate y'all again. But other than that, we out, people.
All right, man. Take care.
Need efficiency.